that weren't on your radar before. So that's phase one. Now, what do you do here when you're at this phase? The limbo phase. Well, first of all, it's important that you allow yourself to decompress, to take time off. So one of the biggest mistakes you can make at the limbo phase is trying to speed up and trying to guilt yourself for underachieving. Those of us who are very ambitious and high achievers and we want to be winners and we want to be getting more money, more success, we always want to be working on something. Those of us who are workaholics, those of us who are super creative, we always want to have some project that we're working on. We don't want to waste our time. We can be too hard on ourselves in that we're always expecting to be like delivering results. And this is just a phase in your life where you're not going to be delivering any results. So you got to be okay with that. If you're a workaholic, you're going to struggle with that. And that's a problem. Because, the problem with workaholics is that they just get kind of stuck in the cycle of doing the same work over and over and over again. They never really go inside and reflect and ask themselves more fundamental questions like, is this work even helping mankind? Is this work even aligned with my top values? Why am I doing this? Is this work really going to fulfill me in the end? And those are really important questions to ask. It's important to be gentle with yourself in this phase. Don't guilt yourself. Don't try to get results out of yourself. Just chill and hang out and take it easy and enjoy that. Trust that by taking the time to decompress and to relax and to introspect, that some new purpose will emerge for you. But not necessarily in a day or in a week or in a month. It might take time. And I'm deliberately not giving you time frames here for how long these different phases could take, because for different people, it'll be different. Really, we're talking on the order of months and years here. So a phase might take 6 months, or maybe it might take a year or 2 years or 3 years. That's roughly what we're looking at. Of course, there's no hard and fast rules. It's going to be different for everybody at different times in their lives. It's important during this phase to break old patterns and to do new things. Because really what this phase is sort of a discovery process. You're discovering deeper aspects of yourself, peeling back the layers of the onion of the self, becoming more authentic, more true to yourself, realigning yourself with your top values, really thinking deeply about what you really want from life, and allowing yourself to dream, to vision, to get inspired by stuff. And the way you get inspired is by participating with new aspects of reality. So stuff, like that you didn't do before, that the old stuff that you used to do, it doesn't inspire you anymore because you've exhausted that from the previous chapter. So now maybe there's new books you want to read, new people you want to hang out with, new kinds of industries you want to explore, new career opportunities you want to explore. Maybe there's a new part of the world that you want to live in or travel to. That's all really great. And you got to start to follow up with that. Because if all you do is you just hunker down and sit back, stay home, and keep doing all the old stuff you used to do, well, there's not enough new information to come in to inspire you. And there's also not enough new opportunities to give you hope. And then you can become depressed because of that. So you got to open yourself up to life. There's so much within life that can inspire you, whether it's movies or art or museums or travel or new people or psychedelics or maybe you discover self-help, maybe you discover spirituality, maybe you have a mystical experience that opens up a whole new realm for you to then explore, to get excited about, to give you new business ideas, to give you new directions for your career, new ways of thinking about your relationships and your family and your friendships and so forth. This is a time to really review what's most important for you in life. And of course, it really helps that you know your top values and you have a sense of life purpose. So for that, check out my life purpose course. That's what it's all about. There's quite a lot involved to get a person to really start to understand who they are. Even though, of course, you're you and you think you know who you are and what you want, actually, most people have no idea who they are and what they really want. And I'm not even talking about enlightenment here. I'm just talking about who you are as an ego, as a personality. You don't even understand what that is yet. Never mind enlightenment. During this phase, consider maybe working on new areas of your life that you've neglected in the past. So maybe in the past you weren't focused on business and now you can be. Or maybe in the past you weren't focused on family and relationships, but now you can be. Or your health and now you can be. Or your spirituality and now you can be. Allow yourself during this phase to be a little bit lazy and to be a bit in a rut. That's okay. As long as you don't get totally mired in it for years. That's okay. Allow yourself to get inspired by life. Be careful not to fall into addictions and distractions with pornography, television, smoking weed habitually, this sort of stuff that can just kind of numb your mind, put you into low consciousness, and actually take you out of introspection mode. That would be a mistake. And if you get caught up in that very long, deep rut, then you can waste several years of your life in this. And it's going to be painful and unnecessary. So watch out for that. During this phase, also cherish your solitude. Be alone. Get comfortable being alone. It's okay. You don't need to always be surrounded by friends. You don't need to always be busy. Minimize your life so that you have time to enjoy your solitude, to introspect and to think. And along these lines, a really great technique is to schedule a week or two for a solo retreat, somewhere secluded out in nature. Rent a cabin on Airbnb, somewhere in the mountains, in the forest, in the desert, all by yourself, and just live there for a few weeks, not meditating per se, not doing psychedelics per se, although you could, but just be there by yourself. Decompress and think about what you want in life. Maybe take a journal with you and just journal. You'd be amazed at how effective this simple technique is. See, most people will never take the time to actually schedule something like this because they think like, oh, well, Leo, do I really need to do it? I mean, like, yeah, it sounds like it would be helpful, but what if I just stay home for a week and watch TV? But see, if you do that, you're not going to get anything near what you would get if you actually took the time to schedule a cabin out in the forest and be there all by yourself without any television, internet, or cell phones. One of these solo retreats can make or break your whole life. It can mean the difference between finding your life purpose and not. That's how important this is. It's during these periods where you have inspiration, where you have new visions and you develop them, you dream, and you find the next chapter in your life, a strong, powerful, compelling chapter. That's what you want here. You don't want a weak chapter. You don't want to waste, because, one chapter is going to probably take you to complete a whole chapter with 4 phases. We're talking 5 years, roughly speaking, 5, maybe even 10 years for a whole chapter. So it would be a great shame if the next 5 or 10 years you devoted to a weak, piddly chapter. You don't want that. So it's highly worthwhile to invest a couple of weeks, a couple of months to really figure out what your next chapter is going to be. That's highly worth it, and it's going to pay huge dividends in terms of money and everything else. So it's worth a little bit of investment. If you have to spend $1,000 to do this retreat, it's still highly worth it. This is also a great time to do travel. Rent a car, travel around wherever you are, go to some parks, go to some new attractions, go to some museums, go somewhere you've never been before. Again, open yourself up to new influences. And traveling by yourself is really great. Because while you're traveling, you get to think. While you're in the plane, while you're in the train, while you're in the car, driving somewhere. One of my favorite things in life that I get a lot of inspiration from is driving, solo driving. I'll just drive for 4 hours or 2 hours, whatever it is, just drive somewhere. Doesn't matter where. It could be just around town with nowhere in particular to go, or somewhere to a different state, to a desert, to a forest, to a mountain that I've never been to a city I've never been to. I'm actually starting to do a lot more of that lately, and it's really great for decompressing and for thinking and for inspiring yourself. Also, during this phase, do activities which bring joy in you. Bring out the joy. Find your bliss, as Joseph Campbell would say, and follow that. You can't find your bliss unless you're doing stuff that you actually enjoy, so stuff that's not work. What do you enjoy about life? And if you don't enjoy anything, well, that just shows you need to spend a lot more time figuring out what you really enjoy, testing out different things. Maybe you enjoy travel, maybe you enjoy cooking, maybe you enjoy hanging out with friends or whatever. And just give yourself the space to participate in that, because that's where your inspiration comes from. Then from that, some new business idea could come, or a new career idea, or whatever. So don't be too practical in this phase. The ultimate goal of this phase is to build a new compelling vision for the next chapter of your life. So that's really what you're working towards. Without a compelling vision, you can't really start at anything. You can't begin the hero's journey. So the hero's journey begins here. You're kind of stuck in a rut, and then you discover some new opportunity, some new vision comes your way, and then is presented to you the call to adventure. Will you accept the call, or will you reject it? Will you come up with excuses and reasons for why you shouldn't go on this adventure? This adventure will be the next 3 phases of this chapter that's opening up to you here. And of course, a lot of times we hesitate. We don't just jump on the adventure, because adventures lead into the unknown. They're dangerous. They require expenditure of energy and resources. They require us to break out of our comfort zone. They require us to find some deeper motivation within ourselves. And so we hesitate and we stall. That's very common. But eventually, you will find your vision, and you will accept the call to adventure, and you will commit to some path, and you will get some direction.